Hi, I am Brenda Jean, Power Medicine Woman, and I am from Medicine Woman Solution. And there is always a solution to life's problems once you're aligned to it. You can always be misaligned, you can be misguided, you could be missing the mark. And the best thing is to realize that you can do one step further to help yourself. And that is basically to learn how to resolve, to evolve, heal instead of just deal. And you can always heal something. There's always a tool somewhere. Spirit has always shown me one way or the other that you do not have to be the victim of your own circumstances. And as that being said, what happens as we live in this world is that our brain predicts. So this is what we are going to be talking about today. But before we begin that, you're going to notice that we have to change the format just a little bit to suit the needs of the compliancy rules. So what we're going to do is when you want a reading, you just have to put the name of your state. Like if I was from Michigan, I would be putting MI and the word yes. And when Amy sees that, she knows that you want a reading. Now, if you're from North South Wales, that's NWS, yes, or SA, yes, So we kind of know where you are somewhere in the world, and it's good to know for me, where are the people that love this information, that want this information, where you're actually located. So, just a little bit tidbits for me. Let's see here. As we tune in, just remember that we still do donations, and just whatever donation you give, it'll go on the scale to find out if it's 1 extra minute or 2 or 3 that for your reading, that 1 minute free reading you get. And when you want just a love donation, there's nothing in return except for a thank you for all of the information that I'm teaching or sharing of the tools. Just remember to put love donation, and there's really nothing to expect from that. But we'll still ask you until we can get the rhythm down. There is an expedite, which means if you pay $23 for 8 minutes, that's 8 minutes of information that you can make a hell of a change. Now, if you know how to operate and you decide you want to come on, you can go through and have a major changes of information and healing and give your brain new information to be able to work with. You can be amazed at how far you can get. So an expedite will pull you to the front of the other readings. And so that's what we would do. There is also these drawings. Okay, if you pay for an expedite, your name goes into the Hope Chest. What does the Hope Chest do? It gives you that another way to spend time with me. So if you pay $8 for a 23-minute, you get a chance to win a 15-minute free reading with me here. Number 2, if you bring a friend and it is the friend says, yes, so-and-so brought me, and you have verified that with Amy, then the new person gets 3 minutes, and the person that brought them gets their name into a drawing as well to get a chance to win an 8-minute free reading with me. If you're just new and you brought yourself, you get 1 extra minute. The other part of the drawing is if you hit love and you share this publicly, then at the end of the show, usually I give it a day, because some people watch replay and then hit love and share. So I'm fully aware of you. So what happens is I wait until the next day, and then I go and I look at all of the names, and then I choose one, stick that in the box. So I don't choose, Spirit does, and we have a whole way of doing it. And that way, at the beginning of each month, there'll be a certain amount of number of names in here. And then you get a chance to win a 30-minute free reading with me off air. And you can have one heck of a information and healing that can help you grow. So when I give information, it's not about just to waste it. It is about to apply it, giving your brain new information. Okay. And so the new information happens to be very important for the way the brain predicts. Now, also, I want you to understand is that what I'm doing is a movement. We are becoming a spiritual human. Becoming a spiritual human is you're more than just human. You're remembering that you are spirit first, soul second, which is you're recording everything, and you are on this journey to being human. Becoming a spiritual human is so that you can stop over-identifying with matter and just be an ego, separating yourself from spirit. We want to bring that back into an integration process. And to do that, you need new information so you can predict better. You need tools to be able to resolve the way you're connecting with that old information and experiences. And when you have the ability, the innate intelligence within yourself to help heal yourself, you will then begin to understand how to empower yourself, love yourself, and be with yourself so that you can grow. And this is where it is where you're resolving to evolve. Now, that's a lot of information to soak in. And so bear with me. Usually the first 30 minutes or so is Spirit needs to speak, because this is what Spirit wants to do, is to help you to heal your life, change your life into helping you make a better life. Now, your brain does not have the ability to do anything emotionally. All it does is receives information. As it receives information, then it turns it into a picture. So if you were to hear me, you hear me, but you may like, what'd she say? So your brain's trying to predict and has an experimental blindness. It doesn't know. It's like seeing an ink blot going, I don't know what it is. And then when you say, this is what it is, they're like, oh yeah, I can see it now. So what did I just say? I'll give you a new example. What did I say? I said, hi, my name is Brenda Power. So even if you can't fully understand what I said when it was muffled, knowing what I said and then hearing the muffle, your brain then gets to predict, hi, my name is Brenda Power. Okay? Your brain only listens to your sensory system of what you are operating. It only has a mirror. So it only sees itself. And if it cannot see the full picture, then it has to go based on the old information. And when you repeat hell, okay, heaven and hell are states of mind. And hell happens when you are disconnected from what you're hardwired from is joy. And when you can't get those primal energies, those radiant circuits, and then you have dropped or separated or somehow stopped yourself from seeing that energy, then hell will be your state. So heaven and hell are states of mind. And when you have that hell, and it's all, your brain only can predict based on how you, your brain only predicts based on how you have defined that picture, that ink blot. And so then it'll apply it every time it sees that form of outline or those words or listening to those sounds. And the way you interpret it will be based on how you also reacted to that experience. So any emotion is based on past experiences, including past lives and through the genetic line called traits from families. The reason I tell you this stuff is because I want you to become empowered. Get new information, but that's not it. That's not all. I have been able to become a spiritual human because I'm moving out of the state of just being ego into that ego mindset, that over-identification of matter. Now, ego itself is an electromagnetic guiding omni apparition, but you, as the observer, have chosen to over-identify with matter, given it such meaning, and to which, is it a shock? Is it, and you can't shake it off. Here's the thing. What we've learned in the wild with animals is that they have these primal instincts to survive, safety, security, stability. And they have this instinct that goes on the background to save their lives. But when they're not, running from it, they actually shake it out and release it. And it builds up their instinct. Instead of living in fear and paranoia, which is what we do, they develop their instincts firmer to the point where they can be just having a good old time, but, got to protect yourselves. So they're not living really in a state of fear. We do. We're made of energy. We're made of, so are they, but we're made of energy. We're made of meridians that hold these different patterns of emotions, of experiences in life. And some people just think everything's linear, but it's not. It's firing so quickly. This is what our brain's doing. It's firing so quickly. Our brain is predicting. So I didn't know what Amy looked like. Okay. And then all of a sudden one day we see each other. Now my brain can put a face to the voice. Or have you ever experienced where somebody's talking, like maybe she's talking about her aunt or something, and you're like, Now you have information and your brain starts to formulate to some degree that it's a woman. She may sound like this, be this old, but this is based on her opinion that she's giving me. Okay. And then she shows me a picture and I'm like, well, that's not at all what I thought she would look like. Has anybody ever done that? So we only predict based on what we know. And when we bring in that new information, it is experimental, or can't say that right, but it's a blindness. And that is, we don't know how to put it into shape. We don't know what it looks like. We don't understand it. But as soon as we get enough exposure or information, bam, our brain goes, oh, I can predict that. So our brain only predicts. It hallucinates, and then it predicts based on new information. So when I'm giving you this information, it is to help you bring in new information so that you can actually help your brain to predict better. But when you use healing tools, which is you're connecting to that innate intelligence that already knows how to heal, but you're interfacing, communicating, saying, you know what, I have these pictures in my brain, and that's how it sees, that's how it talks, that's its language. And because it only sees this way, I like to change that. Now, this is where there are tons of tools. EFT helps disrupt the pattern. You have meridian therapy, which is similar to EFT, and and then there is hope therapy, which is based on meridians, but it's using your pulse points from Chinese medicine. So these all are pulling from different areas, but what does it boil down to? Is that the chakras hold the level of consciousness to which you are experiencing your world. So you have the first three that consume, okay? And the first three chakras, the first three levels is about safety, security, and stability. It is about you and the interaction with humans, okay? With yourself, with your environment. And if you are not upgrading that, if you are stuck, it's like when somebody stops going to school and they are stuck with that level of education if they've never picked up another book or brought in new information. It doesn't mean they're dumb. It just means there is no new information being added into the brain. Okay. So again, when you are bringing new information and you're using tools to help, why is it that I can help you, change a picture in your eye? Well, we're also changing pictures in your left hemisphere and the right hemisphere. And when you begin to really hear the details, your brain takes that new information in and gives you a little bit more hope. Now, hope is not hopeless. That's the negative aspect. Hope is that candle that can light love and joy and peace. Hope is that little part when you're in your darkest moment, all of a sudden there is a flicker of hope. And if you were to follow that light to the end of that tunnel, it doesn't mean you're dead. It just means, oh my God, I'm done drowning. I'm done suffocating. I'm done. Now, why do we go into the depression? Why do we go into that I don't care anymore. I've gotten to the edge of the abyss and I'm just like, whatever. And those feelings that are receptors on every single cell, not just in the brain, but in the body, because you're looking at my subconscious mind because it is my body. And you're looking at it. And so the receptors remind you of a lock on the door. So our cells are like, have all different shapes. And there are these locks, different keyholes. And then the emotions, the peptides, are these keys. And so they find it, lock in, and then they start to vibrate according to the vibrational rate of each of these emotions. So when you have 500 hertz and less, those are more of a negative state. So we can then become addicted to those emotions because that becomes our identity. That's because what we know, that's the only information that our body keeps holding. So our emotions are unresolved stories. It is trapped emotions. It is doesn't have closure, and it is stuck there. When you use tools, it helps to resolve the chemical peptide, unlock the key from the receptors, and that's how you can make a memory to be a memory. We are made of this beautiful energy. We're made of intelligence, this innate intelligence within ourselves. And if we were to consciously connect with all of our little ages, all of those experiences, and allow ourselves to vibrate it out like the animals in the wild did, our nervous system does not have to hold that pattern. Our muscles, everything, they can start to release the patterns. That's where it resolved to evolve. Now, what happens is when your brain starts to predict and goes into fear. And then one of the things about depression is the word under pressure. It is you are putting yourself or somebody else is putting you into a state of under pressure that you have to perform and become and put on this mask that is acceptable to the person or the environment. And you're under pressure to be what they want. Under pressure in the sense that when time passes and those people aren't there, you will still put an auto response of putting on the mask and putting yourself under pressure to perform to which you have been experienced into doing. Okay, that's the emotions and the experience together. This is where we took the mirror of life as we're looking out, turned it to ourselves and says, what the fuck you doing? You better act better. And you have it, the impression so close inside of you that you scare your own self. They scare you. This is where energy becomes very lofty. This is where it feels like people have power over you. And some of you have had atrocious experiences where you have had a physical contact where it was lofty and it has left an impression into your brain. And your body will respond to the point where you're watching TV and all of a sudden that story is very familiar. You may not be consciously being aware of it, but your body's going, oh my God, yes, oh, and your body starts to gurgle and you're like, but that's the body reacting to that information. Your brain is reacting to that information. Now you may have aged, but there are certain parts of you that are going, holy shit, that still can happen. We haven't let that go. So you understand that when you are so involved in what it is you're experiencing, you begin to absorb and you feel it all over instead of observe. Okay? So there are different stages of how to grow, to awake, to become aware, and to take action. The first part is to become awake, and it is having this open part of your mind that there can be something more than what you know. Being awake also realizes that it's about the paradigm that you no longer want anymore because it is no longer serves. It doesn't mean that's evil. At the time it was created and we went through, that was the norm, but the normal is a moving target. We are moving into what's called the Aquarian Age. And we've been doing this transformation, and it was the dawning of the Aquarian Age for at least 800 years. And the solstice happens to fall on the same time that this Jupiter and I think it was Saturn, my brain just went, are going to be so close together, it'll look like a huge ass star in the sky. Depending on where you're at in the world, it'll look like a Christmas star. The conjunction of these two actually helps change what's called the Aquarian Age. Just like every year you have a birthday, every 2,100 or wait, 2,100, yeah, something like that, or 2,500, I don't remember. But over 2,000 years becomes the birthday of the age of our time, of our world. So its birthday, December 21st, is going to be the changing of the guards from Pisces into Aquarius. So the zodiacs actually help the collective human consciousness. So the birth of our collective human consciousness is the birth date is going to be soon. So just to let you know, this is where our consciousness, the levels of our consciousness, which is our chakras, begins to take a different frequency information, new light codes, a different template to which we're going to take ourselves. The thing is that in the cycle of the zodiacs, and when it gets to Pisces and it starts to retrograde back, okay, we're moving ourselves into a higher state, which means there's going to be more peace, meaning we're going to learn to go within to ourselves more, instead of saying, oh, I have to break myself off into myself and be very ego and be very selfish. No, that's not what we're doing. This is why we have been prepping to help people understand, put the oxygen mask on first, learning to heal yourself so you can be there for others, learning to put yourself first, and to the extent of, I think this way, you think that way, and I respect you, not but and then cut and kill. No, it is I respect. And if we have to, zig while other people zag, that's what's going to happen. You're going to learn to own and respect that part of what your world is about. At the same time, we're going to open our hearts. So 12-12, there is a gateway. Okay. I'm going to be deliberately doing a meditation, and it's a paid event, and the meditation, and that is to help us to set up for that event on the 21st, and it'll help prep us for 2021, which is about integration of the yin and yang, the integration process, okay? As we begin to let go of the old values that Pisces had and take on the new values that the Aquarian has, okay? Pisces was the Jesus age. The Aquarian age is the Christ conscious age. And that is learning to be more of in the love state, okay? Now, this is very important. If you don't even believe this, it doesn't matter. There will be different stages of people. Doesn't mean anybody's better than anybody. It just means different waves, different times, different shifts. So what happens is what's called the theory of 100 monkey. And that is enough people will do it, and then it'll catch on. It'll just be something that's natural. Like I watch my birds. There are some birds that I have that just don't have hands. They have their little things, and they just they try to hold something, they take a bite and they drop it. Whereas other birds, like I have Big Charlie, he'll use his hands, pick up the food, and just, which all the other birds have watched him do. And now they're all stopping, using their, grabbing or stepping on it, and they're learning, I don't need to starve, and I don't need to watch it get taken away from me. So it's funny to watch my little Joey, my little Larakeet. He'll come to the edge of the cage and you're like, I see you eating. And all of a sudden you're like, okay. So you give him a little bit of something, he'll grab it and he'll just, whether he likes it or not. And he's holding it. He didn't do that before. And then he saw Charlie do it and he was like, ooh. So it'll just become a new norm. It will be taking on different values. So your brain is learning to take new information on, and this is what we are about. We're ready to take this movement and take it into the next part of the adventure of our soul is on. I feel like I know I am to be responsible for bringing certain information through. This is why the tribe is what we have, and soon the academy will begin. So it's called becoming a spiritual human. It has nothing to do with religion. It has to do with you, getting back to knowing who you really are authentically. And once you start to get new information and wake up, then you can use your awareness and healing tools that can shift you into action to doing what you need. Because there are people that can be brilliant, great ideas, but if you can't take action, nothing changes. Okay. All right, I guess it's enough talk about that. And they're really passionate. They got so much they want to say, but you know, I've seen these 30 minutes go into longer, but I have no idea because I had opened this way early. So I have no idea how long we've really been on for. About a half hour. Now, you're muted. So Amy, your lips are flapping, but I'm not hearing.
Okay. It has been brought to my attention that in the description that is out on Facebook that an expedite is $8 for 23 minutes.
Oh, whoops. That's wrong. How in the heck?
Yeah, I know. And I can't change it on my end. I don't know if you can.
Well, that's brilliant. That's one way to screw myself over. Well, Amy might have to draw me a card because I have to concentrate, which means my brain has got to go into a certain state, which means I can't speak.
Oh, okay. This is from the My Daily Affirmation Cards by Crystal Richardson. I am worthy of more prosperity, and I open my heart and hands to receive it now.
Yes, you guys are wonderful. Go ahead.
I encourage conversations that connect me with people in an intimate and meaningful way.
Excellent. And those are good advice. Why? Because it's new information. We sit there and take old information and say poo-poo on that, because I have what's called hopelessness, which is this overtime hopelessness that I've tried it. It didn't work. Well, use a tool, heal the shit out, and then try it again. And what happens is instead of try, you'll do, because the brain says, I tried, it didn't work. Try doesn't take it. So try is no action, but you have to tell the brain to take action, and then you'll be good. So Gemma has asked for extra minutes. So what happens is she donated certain money and she gets an extra minute. We have, well, somebody gave a love donation, but we just want to make sure that we have communication properly, because a love donation, and my definition is that you are thankful for the information I gave. But if you, Lucille, if you're expecting extra minutes, then understand that you can. That's up to you. You just have to talk to us. Yes, it has changed. I figured it out. Well, actually, Spirit did. And it should be different when you look at my screen. I knew I did something weird. Okay. The temperature here is cold, but it's warm. And all of a sudden now I don't know if I'm having a hot flash or if it's because if the door's open, the breeze comes in, I'm freezing. My husband loves the door open and he's working. But if the one other door's shut, so now all of a sudden I can't tell if it's what's happening, but it's warm. She said minutes is good for me. So with Lucy, Lucy, she gets total of 4. Okay.
Okie doke.
And then so there we go. And then we have Autumn. Don't worry, we have you. And now all of a sudden I got the wrong window open, Facebook, and I'm scrolling through Facebook. And as I'm doing it live, I'm like, what am I doing? No, don't get sucked into Facebook land. It's like, stop. Okay. And that was funny.
Yeah, it's changed now, so it's all good.
Yeah. Okay. And we are going to begin the 1 minute. Here's the thing. If you feel like you're in hell, now I see what they're doing. Before we start the 1 minute, let me just explain something. Let's go back to that depression, those emotions. Those emotions will fuck your head up. Let me just explain. So your brain does not produce the emotions. It is the part of how the meridians function. And when your brain predicts the pictures, the sounds, the sensory system, and it is connected to how we define that moment. And after so much time, it becomes our identity, which helps us have traits and behaviors and mood swings and temperaments. But at the same time, it is the body's consciousness that holds all those past experiences. That's why I said my subconscious mind is my body. So when you are tapping into the innate, you're tapping into the body's consciousness that says that, like, for instance, I woke up this morning and I had a whole new way of healing. And so I started to take note. Now, in the back of my neck, I feel this pain. And I noticed it was about the muscle. And it was right there in the back of my neck. Back of the neck of the fifth chakra is lies. So the neck is a metaphysical way of saying, can you stick your neck out for yourself or for others? Can you hold your head high? There's metaphysical meanings to all this. Okay, so I'm a metaphysical practitioner, if a lot of you are aware of. And where are we going with this? But the depression has been that you've had to put on the same routine over and over to be able to live, that the body says, hey, guess what? Your circadian rhythms, look at the time. Oh my God, it's noon. And from when you really allow yourself to understand the full makeup of who you are. So let's say from 1 to 3 a.m. Okay. No, actually, let's pick this one. 3 to 5 a.m. That's lung. That is the lung meridian. It's about grief. If you have issues with the lung, then you're going to have wake up at between 3 and 5 because it'll be at its peak moment. And if you need to grieve something, then your body will wake you up to make you have this release in some form. Or if you're silently brooding and there's been a buildup of chemical peptides from this, emotional chemical peptides from this, your body will start having problems between 3 and 5 a.m. and you'll wake up. And you've disrupted your pattern of sleeping because of this, of these emotions and these thoughts that you're fired and wired into your brain. And what happens is you begin to take the life force and move it around and to help you build the world that you believe in. So you can use different tools to reset your circadian rhythms. Your body can actually begin to stop holding that grief. So when you are depressed, what happens is that your body will start to feel. And then your brain goes, wait, I have to think what I'm feeling. Okay. So as then when your brain thinks and your body feels and your body feels and your brain thinks, then it becomes this circle, this loop. And if you then start to add fear, worry, anxiety, then it starts going faster. So that makes your brain wave into a high beta brain wave, because beta is like what we're doing here. But high beta is when stress comes into play and your nervous system gets interactive. And then you start to produce more chemical peptides that are very unhealthy for you because they will vibrate at a very faster rate. And your body will then, your brain will switch off, change its polarity. Your brain will do everything because it's all about safety, security, and stability. That you can put your brain in a polarity flip, which can cause you to really disconnect from spirit, cause you really to be in hell. And when people come to me and the short-term fix for a faster relief is to do a source point brain balancing or source point polarity correcting. And then all of a sudden your brain gets the energies appropriately. Oh, there's a relief. Now, the reason I say only temporary is because it's up to you to decide, do you want to keep thinking it? Do you want to still feel it? Do you still want the pictures? Are you finished with it? And most of the time we're not. This is where we have to take the meaning, which is the emotions, off of the pictures. But we have to also take the wisdom so that you can stop repeating this. But if your brain keeps predicting that this environment is very unhealthy, even though you have aged, have a better life, better environment, and yet your body is still repeating that hell that occurred and you collected as a child, okay? That means you can't release it, let it go. What we do then is we take and help you heal this so that your body's innate can start corrected. But you have to become mindful of what you're choosing to focus on. What is your intention? To be angry. And when your brain flips, the polarity flips, and you're disconnecting, and you're only rehearsing how angry you are, that you're just pure emotion now, minus that you're spirit, what happens is that you will dwell and you'll like being angry and it'll feel so good to be all of these things. At the same time, you're in hell because you can't make the picture stop. You can't make sense of it. You just want to cope, handle, and deal, but you can't get back to sanity. So the thing that you do is that you handle it by, since I can't make the thought stop and I can't make the emotion stop, I will go into an emotion, change the thought so I'm empowered. So you will create scenarios where you're the victor. But it's all still rooted. And that's where the healing tool is going deeper to help you take out the roots, to help you calm the chemical peptides, let the memory be a memory. But it's up to you, as we start to do one layer at a time, is to train your brain to say, do I need to choose this? Is this true? Now, if you don't have enough information, oh God, it will be true. But the more you start to understand the complexity of what a soul is, the complexity of what spirit is and how we're designed, the more all of a sudden you're like, wait, what? Amy thought that her life was that I'm supposed to be sick all the time. I'm supposed to think this way. I'm supposed to do this. Amy, you thought your life was great. And then I introduced that, no, your life's in hell. Well, you already knew your life was in hell. But at the same time, I was saying, do you really want to keep repeating that? And you're like, repeating what? And I said, well, that. And you're like, can I change it? Yes. Okay. So Amy, tell me about your life. Like, well, what I want you to do is to tell me, did you know that your life was...
No, I had no clue that my life was not a good life.
But at the same time, you walk around going, God damn it, blah, 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 and bitch about the life.
Mm-hmm.
But yet we think it's a good life. And it's not that it's
Right.
not. And the only reason that it ends up being a not is because when I said to Amy, you're losing physical power. You're losing power to that emotion. And then she started to apply tools, whichever tool I gave her. What did you discover when you used the tools?
Well, first it was like, where the hell did that go? Where did that emotion go? Where did that negative thought go? Where did,
And I said, do you want it back? And you're like,
hell no.
hell no. And you're like, that's an option? Yes, that's an option. And then when you went into those states, you weren't quite sure that you were in it, but then you started awakening and saying, wait a minute, I want out of this.
Yeah.
Like headaches.
Oh my God, I can't really tell you the last time I actually had a full-blown 3-day migraine.
Oof. Yeah, not that I've known you yet. And what about your sugars?
And my sugars are pretty much normal for being a diabetic.
And a diabetic, her old normal before she began to use tools was around what?
Oh, high 300s.
High
daily.
300s. That was her normal until she started to use tools, whether it's the OMG with a little EFT or some hope therapy. All of a sudden it's like, where'd that hell go? Do you want it back? No. Because she had a turnaround. She has the experience, the witnessing. I would rather have joy. You mean I can have joy instead of hell? Yes. Really? Oh my God, I have a headache. Okay, rub this, do this, get the energies moving, and hold a point, focus on this emotion. Where'd it go? I don't know, but I'm glad it's gone. And now your mind has new information that says, you mean I don't have to really be in this state? So there's a lot. And you had depression, and to the point where they had you on a mega dose for how many years?
Oh, I was on antidepressants for at least 25, maybe 30 years.
Okay. And then are you on them now?
Nope. In fact, I want to say it will be a year in January that I have been completely off of antidepressants.
Yay. Now, do you get depressed?
You know, the normal
mood
down
swing
day, but not where I'm bawling my eyes out all day long. No.
Good. And so she's learning more about who Amy is. And she's learning that when she goes into it, that she doesn't have to. Now, this comes along with a lot of education, flippant speaking. She didn't know what all that meant. And doing a knot. I'm not doing that. And what it is showing you where your spiritual debt is. So basically, I help you get out of spiritual debt by helping you resolve these past things that kept costing you your life force. And you are the one that does the healing. You are the one that can take yourself from hell into heaven. But you've got to make the choice. You have to decide to invest in yourself. You have to decide what you want. And sometimes you have to have enough experience between hell and heaven to the point where, hey, why don't I just choose heaven first? Because you don't know it very well. You don't know the unknown. You just know the unknown is fearful. And I'm telling you that the unknown can be created in a healthy way. And you can create better than you could ever imagine, because the brain only predicts. And if it's predicting through hell, as you're using imagination in hell, you're never going to be able to predict better. But when you begin to heal your shit out and you connect to your true authenticity, that spiritual nature of who you are as a spiritual soul, you then can tap into the energy of the unknown through the higher vibration, which then helps you predict better than you could ever imagine. Now, Amy's in her transformational journey, just like everybody else is, including me. And you are growing stronger each day. Amy, would so you're spending, what, a year and a half with me now or so? I don't remember now. And almost 2 years. Do you want to go back to who you were?
No, definitely not.
And when you look at where you were and how you are, you're measuring only against yourself. And you're like, you know what? There's a certain amount of strength that comes when you heal. That when you have that strength, you're actually creating a better world for yourself that you never thought you could. You couldn't really make those decisions. You really couldn't create that way. Now you are taking your power back and you have permission with yourself. You have the ability to say, huh, I'm going to create this, instead of, oh, I don't know if I can. You are, give it a shot. So your life can, I just want joy. I want you to be happy. I want you to know you're hardwired for joy. I want you to have it back. I want to empower you. I want you to become the best you. So giving these readings isn't just information. It's what you do with that information. Now, usually the first time you get one, it is because I'm giving you the information so you can see where your energies are connected, where you're creating loss, where you're creating a repeat. I may not give you healing tool right away, but you get all the healing tools that I give away free. You can go to medicinewomansolution.weebly.com at any time and look under healing tools, and you can see all the different tools that you can apply to yourself. They're there because I want you to empower yourself. But I'm always here if you want to take and say, you know what, I need a reading, a private reading. I need help with a session to help me see something other than I already see. So I help you create this new information. Why am I important in the thing? Is because I carry a buttload of information that you don't have. And I can see it from a different perspective that you can't. And it doesn't have anything to do with I'm better than you. It has nothing to do with it. It just means that I've had more experience in this field, and I'm going to give you the best experience and the best information so that you can decide, I think I want this. You can learn. You can heal. You can grow. And people can shift quickly. And when I see that joy return after you just were in hell, I know you can do it again, and so does your brain. Your brain goes, wait a minute. I think I can predict better now because I get new information. Okay.